Grants, New Mexico. Grants is a city in Cibola County, New Mexico, United States. It is located about 78 miles west of Albuquerque. The population was 9,182 at the 2010 census. It is the county seat of Cibola County. It is on the trails of the ancient Spyway, one of the designated New Mexico scenic byways. Grants began as a railroad camp in the 1880s, when three Canadian brothers, Angus A. Grant, John R. Grant, and Lewis A. Grant, were awarded a contract to build a section of the Atlantic and Pacific Railroad through the region. The Grant brothers' camp was first called Grant's Camp, then Grant's Station, and finally Grants. The new city enveloped the existing colonial New Mexican settlement of Los Alamitos and grew along the tracks of the Atlantic and Pacific Railroad. The town prospered as a result of railroad logging in the nearby Zuni Mountains, and it served as a section point for the Atlantic and Pacific, which became part of the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway. The Zuni Mountain Railroad short line had a roundhouse in town and housed workers in a small community named Breezetown. Timber from the Zuni Mountains was shipped to Albuquerque, where a large sawmill converted the timber to wood products that were sold around the West. After the decline of logging in the 1930s, Grants Milan gained fame as the carrot capital of the United States. Agriculture was aided by the creation of Blue Water Reservoir, and the region's volcanic soils provided ideal conditions for farming. Grants also benefited from its location, both being an airway beacon and later by U.S. Route 66, which brought travelers and tourists and the businesses that catered to them. Today the beacon and FSS building on the airport is being restored as museum. Perhaps the most memorable boom in the town's history occurred when Patty Martinez, a Navajo shepherd, discovered uranium ore near Haystack Mesa, sparking a mining boom that lasted until the 1980s. The collapse of mining pulled the town into a depression, but the town has enjoyed a resurgence based on interest in tourism and the scenic beauty of the region. Recent interest in nuclear power has revived the possibility of more uranium mining in the area, and energy companies still own viable mining properties and claims in the area. Grants is located in north-central Cibola County at 35 degrees 919 and 107 degrees 5032 W, 35.15528 degrees north 107.84222 degrees west, 35.15528, minus 107.84222. Santa Fe Avenue is the main road through the city, while Interstate 40 passes through the south side of the city, with access from exits 81 and 85. I-40 leads 78 miles east to Albuquerque and west 61 miles to Gallup. The town of Milan borders the northwest end of Grants. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 14.9 square miles, all of it land. Grants is on the north end of the large and recent lava field known as El Malpais, part of which is preserved as El Malpais National Monument. To the northeast of town are the San Mateo Mountains and Mount Taylor, at 11,301 feet, the highest peak in the region. West of the city is the Continental Divide in the Zuni Mountains, an eroded anticline with 2-billion-year-old Precambrian granites and metamorphic rocks at its core. The region is primarily high desert country, dominated by sandstones and lava flows. Grants has a typical New Mexico cool semi-arid climate. Located in one of the driest areas in the United States, Grants receives about 11 inches or 280 millimeters of precipitation annually. The three wettest months are July, August, and September, during the monsoon season. The wettest month on record has been July 2015 with 5.59 inches, and the wettest day August 25, 1972 with 1.91 inches or 48.5 millimeters. The wettest calendar year since 1948 has been 1965 with 17.11 inches and the driest 1956 with 4.41 inches. Even during the monsoon season, diurnal temperature ranges are very large, being at or above 35 degrees Fahrenheit or 19.4 degrees Celsius almost year-round. From October, when the monsoon retreats, afternoon temperatures fall from very warm to hot down to comfortable by November and to cool during the winter proper. Mornings typically begin to fall below freezing during October, and over a whole year 177.6 mornings will fall below freezing, although afternoon maxima top freezing on all bar 5.1 afternoons. 0 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 17.8 degrees Celsius is typically reached on 4.6 mornings, and the coldest temperature on record is minus 33 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 36.1 degrees Celsius on Christmas Day, 1990. The aridity of the winters makes snowfall very light. The median is only 0.5 inches or 0.013 meters, and the most snow in 1 month 25.7 inches in December 1967, which also saw the snowiest season with 39.6 inches. During the spring, the weather steadily heats up, with maxima topping 70 degrees Fahrenheit before the end of April and reaching 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 32.2 degrees Celsius on 35.6 afternoons, although only 5 mornings on record have stayed above 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 20.0 degrees Celsius. During this early summer period, the weather remains very dry, so that mornings remain cool even into June. As late as June 23, 1964, the temperature fell to freezing. The hottest temperature on record has been 106 degrees Fahrenheit on July 14, 2003 and June 28, 2013. As of the census of 2000, there were 8,806 people, 3,202 households, and 2,321 families residing in the city. The population density was 644.4 people per square mile. There were 3,626 housing units at an average density of 265.3 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city among non-Hispanic groups was 56.18% white, 1.62% African American, 11.97% Native American, 0.92% Asian, 0.12% Pacific Islander, 24.80% from other races, and 4.38% from 2 or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 52.36% of the population. There were 3,202 households, out of which 37.5% had children under the age of 18 living with them, 49.5% were married couples living together, 17.1% had a female householder with no husband present, and 27.5% were non-families. 24.1% of all households were made up of individuals, and 8.5% had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.61 and the average family size was 3.06. In the city, the population was spread out with 28.8% under the age of 18, 9.3% from 18 to 24, 27.9% from 25 to 44, 21.7% from 45 to 64, and 12.3% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 34 years. For every 100 females, there were 85.3 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 79.4 males. The median income for a household in the city was $30,652, and the median income for a family was $33,464. Males had a median income of $31,870 versus $20,808 for females. The per capita income for the city was $14,053. About 19.4% of families and 21.9% of the population were below the poverty line, including 31.8% of those under age 18 and 11.1% of those age 65 or over. All public schools in the county are operated by Cibola County Schools. 7 elementary schools, 1 middle school and 2 high schools serve Grants and Cibola County. Los Alamitos Middle School and Grants High School serve Grants, and St. Teresa of Avila Catholic School is the only private accredited school in the city and serves grades pre-kindergarten through 8th grades. There is a branch of New Mexico State University offering a 2-year post-secondary program as well as advanced degrees through distance education. The National Park Service and the Bureau of Land Management operate the El Malpais Visitor Center at Exit 85 off Interstate 40 in Grants. The Visitor Center highlights the many features of El Malpais National Monument and El Malpais National Conservation Area. There is a mining museum in town, as well as the Western New Mexico Aviation Heritage Museum at the Grants Milan Municipal Airport. On Route 66/Santa Fe Avenue, the Cibola Arts Council runs an art gallery and museum that features the works of local artists and many Route 66 artifacts, including a Ford Model T Roadster. The museum hosts special events, shows, and openings on a regular basis. There is a Tibetan Buddhist stupa in the Zuni Mountains west of town, the Zuni Mountain Stupa.